it seems like we're trying to reinvent the wheel a little bit with the current land restoration projects that I see. There's a discourse on what's been called ecological modernization. It says you can have continued economic growth and environmental sustainability at the same time, and a lot of people are challenging that thought. You know, the work that was done more than 30 years ago on political ecology, on land degradation in Africa, showed that the discourse that people used to have, where either population pressure, population growth, or unknowingness, the lack of knowledge and lack of awareness of these farmers is what is causing degradation, that has been completely debunked. And what political ecology has shown is that people are often forced into certain situations. Their choices are already pre-structured for them based on the types of power structures that they live in. And oftentimes when you get people getting more connected into sort of regional, national and global economies, that's when you have power interests coming in, when people are taken advantage of, and often they lose their land or they're pushed onto more marginal lands, and that's what drives degradation. So the focus, I was trying to remind people that, you know, there's a rich body of literature on political ecology that exists already, but we're not really engaging with it. It seems like we're trying to reinvent the wheel a little bit with the current land restoration projects that I see. So I put out some work from Pierce Blakey and Harold Brookfield on land degradation in society, which, you know, for me opened up my eyes when I was an engineer, an agricultural engineer, and became a social scientist reading this political ecology literature. In very practical terms, though, what we know from the literature is how people become dispossessed, how their vulnerabilities increase. And yet, right now, we're living and working in an environment that is so dominated by capitalist thought, so dominated by the idea that private finance will solve our problems. There's a discourse on what's been called ecological modernization. It says you can have continued economic growth and environmental sustainability at the same time, and a lot of people are challenging that thought. And for me, when I work with these really vulnerable communities, the unbankables, the question is it possible to engage in this space and build business models, engage with private finance that protects the rights of vulnerable people, builds awareness, and helps them gain the agency to meaningfully engage with this private money that's coming from outside. And that's a challenge, I think, that I hope more people will join us in looking into that approach. Often projects that appear positive, especially in the short term, are not critically examined, and the trade-offs aren't critically reviewed to make sure that we take care of the losers. You know, every project has winners and losers. This is a classic political ecology type of analysis. And if we only focus on the winners, we miss out on the losers. And we need to critically engage with that, right? To give a big example, everybody knows about the Green Revolution. The Green Revolution was by all means a success. It achieved its intended outcomes. But there were so many social and environmental impacts that were unanticipated and only realized after the fact. And I'm sure that all of us who were champions of the Green Revolution 50 years ago would have loved to have taken care and put in the safeguards for those social and environmental impacts that were unanticipated. And I think the same thing is true with land restoration. You can have winners, like the one case of the farmer, the lady who went from 2 acres of land to 80 acres of land due to investments in irrigation. But that means 78 acres of lands have been dispossessed from other people. I don't think the drumming is going to stop.